Hello everybody, and welcome to my corner of the world, and welcome to my Sunday live here on January the 22nd. So I can see that Sue's joined me. Welcome Sue, thanks for joining me again this week. If there's anybody else watching, just like to let me know that you're there, and it's just not Sue and I chatting to one another. Okay, well, while I was thinking about what to share today, there were a number of things that were going through my mind, inspiration sources, and I'll kind of walk my way through those as we go along. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I think I'd like to do some vintage, shabby chic, whatever it is that you'd like to call it. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, I can use some of the product that I have put in my share for this year. Now, you may wonder what a share is. Every time a new catalogue comes out, I offer to divide it up and sell a sample of each type of product, like paper and ribbon, to my lovely ladies, so they don't have to buy the whole packet, but they've got lots of choice things to choose from. So one of the papers is the Dainty Flowers paper here, and it is actually one of the celebration items that's available until the end of February. And as part of my thank you to each of the ladies that join in, I gift them a share of this packet. And one of the sheets in the packet has like a load of ovals. If you can see this, it's kind of got ovals. It's 12 by 12 and it goes like that, and 12 by 12, and it's got sort of ovals and this pretty piece. So when I cut it into 4 pieces, I realized that we've got kind of a whole oval, a half oval, and a half a piece here. And it struck me that maybe we need a bit of inspiration of what to do with this. So I had a good look at this, and I did some measuring, and I realized that I could cut these pieces apart and try to make a card with them. So that's when I started thinking vintage, and that's when I went into my stash and pulled out all the bits and pieces that I thought would work for vintage. So we've got very vanilla card, crumb cake, I've got some linen thread, I've got some of these rustic metallic dots. I pulled out crumb cake and soft suede inks. I pulled out my blending brush, and one of my favourite stamp sets at the moment, Ranunculus Romance. And I particularly love this because I love the eclectic collection of different images, which I think might work really well for this, and it's got some words. So that was my stamp set that I pulled out, and I also pulled out a couple more ribbons. So this is like the crinkle seam binding, and then the natural finish ribbon, which is kind of a bit like a linen. And I thought, well, these might work with shabby chic as well, or vintaging, whatever you'd like to call it. Hey Donna, thanks for joining us today. So we're doing some vintage, shabby chic, whatever you'd like to call it. So here is my piece of paper, and as I say, I got a pencil and I did do a bit of marking because I wanted to make sure that at least the start idea would work before I started working live. So I'm just cutting this down. So I'm taking off that long piece first, and then I'm going to cut these two pieces here. Before I go any further, I'm just going to bring in my camera a little bit so that we can see. I hope I didn't make anybody nauseous. There we go. All right, and I've got my new little mat here. This is an idea that my friend Ellie gave me, and I realized that if I just work on this piece of mat, then I'm always going to be in the camera, so that's why I'm using that now. So I've got my pieces here, and if I kind of give them a little measure, and so this one gives me 4 by 4 7/8. That's a lovely measurement to deal with. This one also is 4 7/8, and that's 2. Yep. And then this strip here is 6 by 1 1/8. So where can I take this from there? So I got my card base. So this is crumb cake. And it did go through my mind that I could use that like that. And I need to just trim it down a weeny bit. It's a bit on the wide side. Now that's one starting point idea. And then I've got this piece. So this is 2. But I can cut a little bit down there. Okay, so what is going through my mind is to make this a Z card, or what I like to call a lazy Z, which means that one side is smaller than the other. So this is 8 1/2. I've already scored it at 4 1/4. So I'm going to put another score at 2 1/8. And see where that takes me. Right. So I could put that like that. Okay, that works nicely. And then I've got this piece which could go there. And then I've got this piece. Okay, well, I'm not going to rush into making a decision. So I think I need to trim this down slightly. Now, if anybody's got any suggestions, please go ahead and shout out, because I'm always looking for inspiration. Now, this is 4 7/8. So I need that to be, let's just trim a tiny weeny bit off because I've got a little bit of line there. So if I cut, say, let's see, I want to make sure I don't lose my little piece of pattern there. So if I cut 1/4 inch there, and that should, if I do the same this side, let's just take there, and let's see how that goes. All right, I'm thinking I need a layer under this, So I've got some extra card that I got. Now I'm thinking if I cut this 4 by 5 and, no, let's try 5.5 by 4.25. So that's the actual footprint of the card, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, so that's that. So I could make that fit like this, and then this piece can go on top. How does that look? All right. So that's a starting point there. And then I need this piece. I would like to put this piece in here. But again, it's a weeny bit sort of short on here. So I'm going to put a layer on that as well. So I'm going to trim this down. This panel here is 2 1/4. 2 1/8. So if I cut a panel at 2 by 5 1/4. Let's see what that does. All right, and then if I trim this piece down so that it's 2, maybe 2, 1 7/8. Let's see what 1 7/8 looks like. That doesn't look too bad. Okay, any thoughts so far? Let's see how this is going to go. So that would go there. And so when you opened it, that would kind of be hidden, but it would peek out. Right. Okay. All right, so I am going to work with the pieces I've got, and we're going to do a bit of vintaging. This can be a bit messy. So I'm going to add an extra piece of paper onto my work surface here. And I've got my blending brush. And while I'm working my way through this, I am going to, and I'm going to vintage this piece up as well, just in case I do go ahead and use it. I'm going to start with a light colour first, because I don't want to go straight in for the heavy ink. So I'm using Crumb Cake, and I'm going to start with, as I say, my Crumb Cake. And this is quite white, this backing paper, and my paper, my cardstock is vanilla. So I want to take some of this white out altogether. All right. Well, I'm glad you're loving it so far, Donna, because you will be getting some of this paper, and hopefully this will inspire you to do something with it. Now let me tell you about this vintaging. Now I take part in several blogs every month, blog hops, and there is a lady from the UK that is a regular hopper alongside of me. Her name is Jez Carpenter, I think. And she, whenever she shares something on the hop, it's always, I say always, more often than not, she does vintage things. And the other day I was looking for some ideas about something completely different, and I came across her videos where she was making junk journals or travel journals, and I never heard of them before. So I kind of clicked, as you do, and found and watched her make these junk journals, and a lot of what she did was this vintaging, this shabby chic, and I was absolutely enthralled. And I picked up some hints and tips from her that basically I'm sharing with you today. So can you see the difference here by just using ink? Now, the lady I was telling you about, Jez, she tea dyes and coffee dyes her papers, and then sort of lets them dry, and she buys old manuscripts, old music paper, old books, and she repurposes them into these wonderful junk books or travel journals. And as I say, I was just enthralled. So there's that. Now I want to take some of the colour off of the edge of my pieces of card, and because I'm going to be layering onto them, I'm just going to do the edges here. Like that. Right, so I must admit I would be a bit nervous about dyeing my papers in tea. The idea of getting them wet scares the heck out of me, so I'm thinking that this blending brush is probably the best way to go. All right, so I'm starting to think that this piece of card here is a bit on the big side. Even if I pop it on here, I think I'd like it to trim down a bit. So bear with me. I'm going to just trim that down. So I'm going to make it 4 by 5 1/4. There we go. I think I'm going to be happier with that. And I just need to put a bit of extra ink on there because I've managed to cut off the border. Right, yes. Yeah, Donna agrees. She thinks that's a weeny bit on the big side. So now I've got a border all the way around, which is lovely. My next thought was to get out my punch. And I'm going to take these corners, off. And I'm going to flip like this. Right, let's go back in and just cut those edges back in. And as I say, these were all tips that I picked up from Jez, making sure that you go back and you take your... Now, should I take those corners off? Yes, needed crumb cake frame, I agree with you. So, yeah. So I'm thinking, should I take those corners off with the same punch? Okay, we'll think about it. I got that upside down. I didn't realise there was a direction. Okay, there's a direction. Now, I'm going to do some stamping. And I am going to take these lovely stamps from the Ranunculus Romance, Ranunculus, whatever whichever way it goes, I can't remember. So Sue agrees I need to take those corners off. So I will. Right. So I am going to stamp over that. So this is the stamp that's got like the little sort of writing type. It looks like a list. It says silver plate jewellery. All right. And then I've got this lovely sort of flower, and it's a nice dainty flower, which kind of supports the flowers in there. And then I've got this. I love this little sort of postage. It's like a postage cancel. There. Ooh, I'm loving that. I am really loving that. Okay. So let's go ahead and get these corners. So I must make sure that they all go in the same direction. Okay, so let's just go back in and do those corners just to make sure that there's no bright going on. Lovely. All right, I am going to stick this bit down now because I don't want to do any more to it. I don't want to mess it up. It's gone the way that was in my mind. I've got a little bit, need a little bit more in there. Had a little bit of a, okay. What about that for a bit of vintage then? Shabby chic, whichever you'd like to call it. All right, so now I'm going to work this piece. So I've got this here like that. I'm not going to do the corners on this one. I think I am just going to go with some stamping. And this time I've got this like little Eiffel Tower type one here. I'm going to pop that in there as well. Oh, I'm really excited about this. All right, so anybody out there that hasn't said hi, perhaps you go into the chat box there and join in the conversation. I'd really love to know that you're there. Okay, Sue, let's see what we can do about the focus. And I'll just move my mat up. So hold on. Is that better? Are you able to see that? So that's what we've got now. I've got these two pieces and then this piece. It's going to go like that. Right, so we need a liner. And what's just occurred to me is that I can put this strip down there. So we're going to go with that now. So, oh, I'm glad it works, Sue. Thanks for letting me know. There's one thing with, when I do my recorded videos, I'm able to link my phone up with the TV and I can actually see exactly what's going on real time. When I do the lives, I haven't yet worked out how to find, how to zoom in ahead of time without doing it when it's actually live. And I can't do it through my TV. It won't work through the TV. So I'm watching it on a notebook, and the delay is quite substantial. It's probably about a minute delay between the time I do something and I can see it. So right. Oh, I need some stamping on that one, don't I? This is a little piece, so we'll just use a couple of the smaller stamps. And I've just found one that says just because. So I am going to actually pop that right in there. Okay. And there. And I think I'm going to just do a little bit of very light stamping. I think I might even do it like that. So this is the bit that we're going to put inside the card. This is the bit that you're going to write "To you, love from me" on. And because I've used very, very light ink, you can write over the bit of stamping that I've done. All right, so I'm committed now. That's going to go here, and that's going to go in there. And that bit's going to go there. Right, and then this piece is going to go here. And now I'm thinking, should I cut those corners to match these? But I am going to do a bit of blending on the edges. I should have done that on the inside of the card as well, but never mind. I think I can get away with doing it because everything else is already done. There, I think I'm good there. And just take the if you like, the freshness off of the. I am going to go ahead and put the and do these corners as well. And put a little bit of extra ink on those bits. Oh, yes. Yes, I like that. Right, so let's use a few dimensionals. So I had dimensionals, there they are. So for this, making sure it's the right way up, I'm going to put a couple here. I'm going to put 3, I think. And then I'm just going to put 2 on that side. And I do that because it means I haven't got to guess where to put them in the middle here. Oh. Right. Well, I got a lot of sticky here, which I don't like having. So let's pop that like that and see. Because I don't want it to go outside of this card. There. Oh, I'm really liking that. I hope you are too. I have an envelope which I'm just going to quickly add some ink to. In fact, if I open like that, I can go on both sides. And I can go ahead and do the back maybe, but I won't do that because you're getting the idea now. So I've stamped off a little bit so that the ink is even softer. Like that. Okay, Donna's loving it, thank you. Now there's my card. Now I need to think about a little bit of decoration. So I've got these ribbons. Now this white one is not going to work as it is. So we can either colour it up with a blending pen, or we can colour it with a stamping marker. But I'm just going to use my blending brush, and I'm just really again just taking the freshness of the white out of the ribbon. Right, so I'm going to cut that about where I finished. I'm going to find the middle, and then I'm going to make my bow using that middle there. There. So that is one of my embellishments, so that can probably sort of go like that. Then I've got this lovely ribbon, and I'm really tempted with it, but I don't want a lot, so I'm just going to cut a piece off. And I'm going to stamp on it. A little bit, and both sides, just in case I decide not to use. It's very faint. If you see it's just really just a little bit of colour, and then back in again with my brush just to take the freshness off of that. And it's also, as I'm working it, is actually helping to fray, which I think is another good sort of shabby chic type of thing. And if I squeeze it up in my hand, yeah, I would agree, it would make a great Mother's Day card. There. Okay, so what can we do? So I'm just looking at this, maybe sort of like that, but I need a greeting. So there's a Just For You. Did I get the Just For You out? I did. So here's the Just For You. And I have a strip of paper. And I think I'm going to use my darker ink. I'm going to use the soft suede a little, so I don't lose it in everything. Oh, look at that. Look at that for centering and level. Oh. Okay, so I want it to be the same direction. I'm just going to line that up so it's even. And then I'm just going to... Now, what would be ideal here, if I had thought about it ahead of time, was to use the decal edge rectangles. That would have given me a good vintagey look on this piece of card here, but too late. There. I'm getting myself in a bit of a mess here. Right, I'm going to get this. I love this. As you probably realised, I love this stamp that has got the words on it. It just does something for me. Right. We're going to put that on with some dimensionals. And I had them here a moment ago, but I'm in a right mess here. So I think I'm going to use some minis this time, because it's quite a small piece. Now I could layer this onto a darker piece of card, but I'm just going to let it work by itself. So I'm thinking about, what do we think about there? And then I can, let's see. I don't want to put all of that there because that's going to lose some of my pretties. But maybe if I was to kind of stick those there, and I'm looking for suggestions, ladies, so please give me an idea what you think I should do. And this piece then can kind of just go like that. Any thoughts? Well, while I'm waiting for you to think that through, I'm going to put a glue dot to help these two pieces stick. Just get my tool out here to help me with that so I don't get them on here. So I'm just gonna, oh, this is still on my finger. I've just popped a glue dot sort of halfway there because I want it to hold in place. And I'm going to pop another one down to make sure that this bit just holds in place as well. And then I'm going to pop this on a glue dot as well. And now I think that's what I'm going to go with. So a few more glue dots just to make sure it doesn't float off. All right, so Sue thinks that that's a workable thing, an idea. Now, unfortunately, they keep coming off on my fingers on here. I think my fingers must be ultra sticky today. All right, let's start again. So where was it? I popped it around about here, wasn't it? There's a little bit floppy at the top, so we're just going to go ahead and pop another one underneath just to hold the top in place. Oh, well, I am pretty chuffed with this. I don't know if you realise, but when I do my lives, all I have is an idea in my head, and I just pull together some things, and then I kind of make it up as I go along, which is why I ask you to help me with some ideas, because sometimes I need a little bit of inspiration here. Now I've got these rustic metallic dots, and so I think I'm going to add them on like that, and this tiny one I'm just going to add here. It looks like I need to get some more of those. Well, I can rustle this up. I can sort of make this a little shabby, a little chicier there, I guess, with my tool. And there you have my shabby chic vintaged card. As I said, this is using one of the 6x6 pieces that's going to be in the share that I am going to be distributing in the next couple of days. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, perhaps you'll go ahead and give me the thumbs up. If you don't already subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you would. And if you have any comments, I'd love to read them. Well, I will be back next week with another live, another exploration into the unknown. And I've certainly appreciated you joining me today. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye for now.